Hey guys, Sean Terry here, Flip2Freedom.com. All right, so in-house conversion is probably the most and one of the most important things that you can master in this business. What you do in-house, how you meet a seller face-to-face is absolutely critical. Now, there is obviously a big debate between over-the-phone sales and then in-house conversion. Now, over-the-phone sales, you can do deals all across the entire country, and you can close over the phone, which I am absolutely not discounting. It's something that's huge. But I can tell you from my experience, in-house sales, meeting someone, a seller face-to-face, converting that deal face-to-face, 70% of our revenue comes from people that want to sell but don't need to sell, right? If you're doing over-the-phone sales and you find someone that needs to sell, well, guess what? You can make them an offer. They're desperate. They want to sell. But when someone wants to sell, right, they don't really need to sell. Most people want retail. They're going to give you a higher number over the phone. They're going to hold their cards close to their chest, almost like a poker game. And they're not going to reveal that they have some sort of distress or issue. It's going to be hidden. So over the phone, it's very difficult. You make an offer, they go, oh, and they just pass on it and they move on. But if you meet them in person, right, you meet them, you build rapport, you walk the house, sellers will essentially drop their guard, and then they will potentially do business with you. So I use what's called a 9-step seller conversion sequence. And the reason why I developed this 9-step seller conversion sequence was to onboard sales reps. So as I was hiring sales reps and training them, I needed a proficient manner, be able to, an efficient manner to be able to have them watch a series of videos, a training, so they could understand the 9-step seller conversion sequence. So here's what the 9-step is, right? There's 9 steps that you can do meeting a seller in person and getting that contract signed. The first step we want to do is prepare our file, right? And I'm going to try to do this in the next 8 minutes, right? So prepare a file. I'm going to do it fast. Prepare your file. You need 3 comps. You need your pre-filled out contracts. You need your letter of authorization or release information. And you have to have a complete understanding of exactly what you're going to offer. You need your 4 numbers. You have to have your ARV, your exit number, your max allowable offer, and your goal target number. Those, preparing your file is the most critical, knowing your numbers. You have to know what it's going to take to negotiate to get to your point. If you have a max allowable or a goal target number, you have to be able to justify why you're offering a goal target number and be able to understand the math to be able to get there. This, when it comes to an offer process, math is the most important thing, understanding where they are and then being able to calculate the actual net number that's going to go to them. So that's number 1. Number 2 is what we do is called pre-appointment intelligence. That's where we drive around the property, show up to the appointment 15 minutes early, drive around the appointment and look for any for sale by owner, for rent signs. You look at other comparable sales and you get a real good idea about the specific neighborhood. So then if the seller uses an objection saying, hey, the house down the street is selling for XYZ dollars, you'll be able to refute that because you know and you looked at that particular comp. Now, that's number 2, is pre-appointment intelligence. Number 3, in the 9-step seller conversion sequence, is actually meeting the seller, right? And reading that personality. Now, I'm not going to get too deep in this because it's pretty intense, but you want to build a level of rapport with a seller so they just don't tolerate you. They just don't they accept you, but you have to go to understanding where they like you. If they don't like and trust you, then you can never get to an offer and be able to negotiate on a deeper level and get that deeper price with that seller, right? So a lot of people go in, they walk around the house, they don't even think about building rapport. They do a little bit of rapport, talk about their kids, talk about the dogs, the cat, or whatever. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, they go around the house, look at the repairs, and make their offer, and they think they're going to get the contract. Well, that is not the way to do it. Well, you have to build a deep level of rapport with that seller on an identification level. It's almost like you're meeting a long lost person from your old hometown that went to your old high school, and you're reminiscing about all the old things about your life. You have an instant deep connection. If you can create that with a seller, it's absolutely gold, because you go basically from a tolerance all the way to liking, just like that. So that is building rapport. Then you can read their personality types. There's 4 personality types. I'm not going to get into exactly how that is. You can read their handshake. You can find out what's going to motivate them. After that, then what we do is we're going to walk around the property and do the repair sheet. Now, the repair sheet's absolutely critical, because that ties into a justifiable offer, right? Ties into that. So we've got number 4 is that repair sheet, right? Walking around. And so we've got preparing your file. We've got your pre-appointment intelligence. You've got meeting the seller, building rapport. Now we're doing your repair sheet, which is number 4. And you're going around and you're having a detailed repair sheet of what needs to happen. Not just pulling a number out of the sky, but an actual detailed repair sheet. How much windows are going to cost, what the exterior is going to cost, what it's going to take to renovate the kitchen. And we have an entire repair sheet, literally step by step, that goes through, and you can build a pretty good case on what needs to be done for an older property, right? So that's number 4. Once you get the repair sheet, then what we do after that point, then what we do is go through what's called our custom covert intuitive presentation. It's an iPad presentation that literally goes through and answers the most commonly asked questions, like what's the difference between you and a realtor? Do you offer retail? What's the process? It goes through that, and it shows pictures of what properties look like before and after, so they can understand the significance of the repair. If you ask the seller, how much do you think it'll cost to repair your property? They're going to go, $5,000. But then they see a picture. What would it cost to get it like this? Oh man, they're going to cost $100,000, right? That's a whole different understanding of what repairs actually really are. So that custom covert intuitive presentation is amazing. Answers all the questions. Gives them actual Benjamin Franklin clothes in there. And then at the end, you actually make which is the 5th one, right? Is you make, actually 6th one, you make a logical offer, right? You make that logical offer. So you make the logical offer by showing them with the lowest comps in the area, minus your repairs, minus a little bit of profit. Then here is your actual offer, which starting at your goal target number, and then you can negotiate up to your max allowable. But you have to create a logical offer. The problem is a lot of people go in there, they don't even create a logical offer. They don't understand, and they just pull a number out of the air. The seller doesn't understand. They go, I'm going to think about it. And you go, okay, when can I call you back? And they're like, never, but you can call me back whenever. Or just they'll say, I'll call you back, and then you lost that deal, and you're never going to ever get it again. So number 6 is going through the custom covert intuitive presentation. Number 7 is making the logical offer, right, to that seller. And now what's going to happen is, number 8 is you're actually going to, they're going to either they're going to accept the offer. So you're going to ask a closing question, right? So once you make your logical offer, you go, oh, you don't want to do it? You don't ever say that. That's an open-ended question. They can say, absolutely not, get out of my house, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to say, hey, closing question, right? And part of number 8, when you make your logical offer and close the deal, what you're going to do is you're going to say, listen, let me ask you a question. Would you like to close on Friday the 11th or Monday the 13th, right? Now they're thinking about closing versus thinking about your offer. Would you like to get a cash or check, or would you like to get a wire? Which would you prefer? Would you like to leave the keys at title, or should I pick them up at the house when we close? Which would you? And once they give you an answer, then you immediately go into drawing up that contract. So that is the actual where you actually presenting your logical offer, you're closing the sale. Then what they're going to do is they're going to come back with an objection. Now what we use is what's called there's about 16 objections that sellers use, and we call it the objection annihilation method. We box that objection. We make it general. I want to think about it. Too specific, exactly what they want to think about. And then we can refute that. Most of the time they want to think about price. They just don't want to confront the issue. So now you got that. Now what happens is you want to basically talk about the expectation moving forward. Now, and you're going to, once you make your offer, you overcome the objection. Now there's going to be a gap, right? They might be at 120 and you might be at 100. Now you can close that gap by using it, split it down the middle, and then you get them to sign the contract right there, right? And you ask them the question, what would it take to get the deal done today? And then you can get it closed today. Now, The last and final thing is to wrap up the entire appointment by creating future expectations of what's about to happen.